From the Aishin Broadcast Studio, it's the Executive Spotlight.
Welcome to the Auto Success Executive Spotlight. I'm your host, Brian Ankney. Today, my guest is Warner Jones from TruVideo. Welcome.
Thank you.
Hey, I'd like to just dive right in. Let's talk about some of the best ways dealerships can be using video today.
Yeah, so what we find is that when you implement video in a dealership, you want to have a couple of things that you set up with. And one of the first things is a software program that's easy to use. And it might sound intuitive and simple, but actually finding an application that the technicians can use and it's quick and it's stable and you can upload your videos quickly is very important. The next thing, though, is to have a sponsor. Somebody in the dealership needs to care about video and they need to make it a priority. And especially early on, care about it like on a daily basis. How many videos were uploaded and maybe you do a quick audit of the quality of your videos. So if you have those two things, that's going to put you in the right direction.
You know, in the dealership world, there's always new things that are coming down the road, and employees often will object. I mean, you could probably walk into a dealership and have everybody in a room and say, today everybody gets a $10 raise. Somebody's going to be like, wait a minute, right? So how do you, video is something that we all do in our personal life, but how do you foster adoption and then, really get the people to embrace it?
Yeah. So what we found in some of the most successful implementations is that there's some planning that goes before you launch. Just like you said, you can't just throw it at somebody on Monday. And that planning usually looks like a buy-in meeting. And ideally, you're going to have that meeting with your technicians and then a separate meeting with your advisors, because it turns out it's a different message for both groups. I know when we've introduced it to technicians, there's usually a few guys in the background with their arms crossed like, oh boy, another initiative, what is this, right? And what you want to do is educate them on how it's going to benefit them. So I would often ask the question, what's the biggest objection you have today? What's the biggest obstacle to your success? And the technicians will normally say, well, it's the advisor out front that can't sell anything. So I filled out my multi-point inspection and I have all these issues and I've sent that to the advisor and the customer never accepts any of those recommendations, right? And so what we would turn around and say is, well, now you have the ability to speak directly to the customer through this video. And so that can often get their attention, right? Speaking directly to the customer without that filter. So I think it's important to have those breakout meetings when you're talking to advisors. It's a little bit simpler. They don't have to work quite as hard with video being implemented, because when video is implemented, now the expert's talking to the customer as opposed to the advisor talking to the customer. And so it's a little bit simpler when you have that conversation.
So in another conversation that you and I have had, you mentioned using incentives to help get people excited about this and to use videos. What does that normally look like in a dealership?
Yeah, so we've seen dealers that will say, this is the way we're going to do business. This is how we're going to treat our customers. And it's a condition of your employment. Just take videos. And that works for some dealers. But then we also see where it doesn't work and you need to sort of sweeten the pot a little bit. And so some dealers will actually put an incentive in place. They'll either pay a flat rate of $3 or $5, or maybe they'll pay a tenth or 2/10 of an hour to a technician to actually record a video. Some will put it in for a few weeks, a couple of months, and others will actually leave it in place for forever, right, for a very long time. And what we find is there's a pretty good equation. The economics of doing an incentive are pretty interesting for the dealer. So if you look at a broad cut of repair orders, when you employ video, when you put a video on a repair order, you're usually going to see somewhere in the order of $50, $60, something like that, improvement.
Oh, wow.
So with that improvement, if we say, all right, well, so the profit margin on a $60 improvement is probably 50% if you blend in parts and labor. The dealer's going to make an extra $30 when there's a video associated with an RO versus when there isn't a video. And if I'm actually going to pay a tenth to a $25 an hour technician, that's $2.50. So I make $30, but it cost me $2.50. That's a 12 times return.
Yeah.
And so the economics really make sense. Even if I paid 2/10 and that was a $6 or a $5 video, it's a 6x return. So we do see that the economics really play out. We have some dealers that would do it just for the customer experience alone, not even the dollar return that they get.
Well, let's talk about AI for a moment, and so let's stay with customer experience. I know you guys are using AI in your product. How does AI, improve the customer's experience?
Yeah, so we have what we refer to as an artificial intelligence suite, and it actually has 6 components to it. And we've been working on AI really before it became popularized with OpenAI and ChatGPT, right? And so we've had this out in the market for a while. 4 of the elements we apply to our texting engine, and 2 of the elements we apply to the video side of things. So on the texting side of the house, every message that comes in, we analyze with artificial intelligence, and we actually suggest 3 replies. One's an affirmative reply, one's not affirmative, and then there's one that's sort of in the middle. And what that allows the advisor to do is to read the message and then read the replies and then select the reply that makes the most sense. So we're helping them save time, but we're also giving the customer a better answer, and it's professionally written, it's consistent, it's the right grammar in the right case, right? The next thing we do is we actually apply artificial intelligence to the outbound message. So if an advisor is actually typing a message and hits send, we intercept that and we say, well, that's what you said, but maybe this is how you want to say it. And what you see sometimes is that dealers and advisors are working in all caps in the DMS, and that starts to translate into their text messages and their communication. And so it's sort of like a Grammarly thing. We just clean up that outbound text message. We also look at every inbound message for sentiment. How is the customer feeling? Because we're trying to head off a bad experience. And so we actually grade every inbound message, whether it be positive, neutral, negative, or very negative. And if it's a very negative message, we will actually alert the service manager that there's an issue with an existing conversation happening right now, as opposed to waiting for a manufacturer survey that comes out, 4 days later. And then the last thing we do on the technology texting side of the things with artificial intelligence is we offer translation service. So I can be texting out in English, but someone else can be responding to me in Spanish, and we can go back and forth that way. So it's a really great way to personalize your messaging to your customers. And then on the video side of things, we do two things. One, we do subtitles. So we actually take the narrative from the video, we pull it out, and we create a text overlay that's time-stamped. So now I can listen to my video and in a noisy place or a quiet place, and it's going to help the customer get back to me sooner. And then the last thing we do, which is unique to the industry, is we do noise canceling. And we basically wipe out all the background noise. So all you hear is the technician's voice as they're recording the video. And it's an amazing feature. It's unique and very compelling.
Wow. Well, I mean, that's one of the reasons why our garage studio that we have here at Babcock's is so great, is you don't have all the sounds in a service department, right?
Yep. Yeah.
And I wasn't aware about the checking of the service writer. I wasn't aware of checking what he's written, because if you think about how poor some people write in emails, it's nowhere close to how poorly they write in text messaging.
Yes.
And so, the way that somebody texts personally may carry over to how they might text professionally. I imagine you see a lot of that.
It really does. And what we see, and we speak to manufacturers a lot, and we speak to large dealer groups, and both audiences would like to present a professional front, right? They want their message to be consistent, professional, formatted correctly. And so with both Smart Replies and with our Text Pro, we clean things up. And we do find some advisors typing in shorthand, even in all caps, because they know that Text Pro is actually going to clean it up for them. They go, boom. We have one advisor in California who's a top-rated advisor, but still a little bit uncomfortable with how to write some of her responses. And she uses a suggested response 90% of the time, and she says it just makes her feel smarter.
That's great. Well, and I mean, if you think about it, I mean, the service advisor is one of the busiest people in the dealership, and if they can respond to 3 customers in 30 seconds, as opposed to sitting there reading, proofing, thinking about it, phone rings.
Yep.
Okay, I got to go back, and it probably really helps with the customer getting a quick response, and now that tech can do the work and not take it off the lift, I mean, it probably solves a lot of problems.
Yeah, definitely does. Definitely does.
Well, let's kind of go back. You mentioned a little bit about the financial, the additional money per RO. Let's dive a little deeper into that, to the overall financial opportunity for a dealership. I mean, that's the name of the game, right? I mean, everybody's in business to make a profit.
Yeah.
What's the real opportunity look like for a dealership by adding video to their service department?
So the number we usually see, especially early on, is somewhere between a 20 and a 30% improvement in dollars per RO. And the repair orders that we're looking at are really customer facing, right? So a customer comes in and it's either customer pay or warranty work on that RO. We also see benefit in internal ROs, like the videos that you send to your used car dealer, your used car manager.
Mm-hmm.
But we really focus on that customer pay kind of repair order in there. And if you look at 20 to 30% increase, and maybe we take that number that one of the OEMs gave us, which was $60 improvement. If you look at, a mid-sized dealer, maybe does, 700 ROs in a month, and we've already determined that you're going to make $30, right, in ROs that have video on it. If you put a video on every one of those ROs, that's $21,000 a month. That's $250,000 a year in profit.
Wow.
And so that's what it really means. And when you look at it, the dealer makes more money, the service department makes more money, advisors make more money, and technicians definitely make more money. And we've seen that where you can actually, we've got a report, it's called the Delta Report. And for any technician that's a little hesitant, we can actually run that report within 24 hours of launch. And we can show them that all the ROs they had with a video are going to show you X, and any RO you had without a video is going to show you Y. And we actually show you the delta between the two. And it's usually pretty compelling. And
Wow.
So that's how we get some buy-in from our technicians, is they can see that the guy next to them has got a better delta than they do, and maybe they should be taking more videos.
Wow. I mean, that would be compelling, because if you've got a couple of guys that are early adopters that are like, Yahoo, I want to do this. That's all you need. You just need those guys to make more money, and then you just show it to everybody else, and they probably quickly jump on board.
They really do. And sometimes we'll suggest if there's resistance, you do it with a team or two, so you can demonstrate the team's activity, or a technician or two. When it starts to show up in their paycheck is when they really get that buy-in.
Yeah.
Right? Because now they've seen it, and it's the only thing that's changed in the dealership is we introduced video last week as opposed to not having video before.
Presented from the Aishin Broadcast Studio at Babcock's Media.
We kind of talked about how quickly you can see results, but how long does it take? Like, if I'm a dealer and I say, okay, I want to do this. Like, is this something that I'm doing a week from today, a month from today, 90 days from today? Like, what does that process look like?
Yeah, as before, I talked a little bit about the planning. And so roughly speaking, if somebody said, I want to do this, we'd probably give you 2 or 3 weeks before we actually did the installation and the training on the video platform. And part of that is for the buy-in conversations and having those meetings. Part of that is to make sure that we've got the DMS integration set up, because all the repair orders just show up in our system because of the integration with the top, the major DMSs. And so some of that is that planning. We also do self-service training, so you can actually get trained before we do the installation and the kickoff, so that you're ready for that. So there's a little bit of prep work involved, but we have turned around dealers in a matter of days.
Oh, wow.
Because they wanted it implemented, for the beginning of the month. So somewhere in that range is what it looks like.
Interesting. Well, now from the customer's perspective, we talked a lot about the dealership. Like, if I bring my car to you and your dealership is using this technology, what am I going to see, and how am I going to interact with it?
Yeah, and again, it's the company name is TruVideo, but we're really a communication company, and we put a lot of emphasis on our video platform and our texting platform. And so initially what a customer is going to see is now you can actually text that customer. It's no longer just this phone game of back and forth, and the customer is immediately able to text back and forth. And it usually starts with a welcome message saying, welcome to the dealership. You can text me back and forth on this number. And that happens as soon as the repair order is created. The next thing that happens that follows that is usually a link to the video. And the video, when the dealership is saying, well, when should I do videos? Do I do it on every customer-facing RO? And the short answer is yes. Even cars that are new or they're in there for their 5,000-mile checkup, you should be doing a video. And what we end up doing is we send that video link to the customer, and they're going to watch that video, even if everything's great on the car. And so the customer starts to understand that every time I bring my vehicle in for service, I'm going to get a video, even if there are no problems. Because what happened previously is you get a phone call and you have these problems, where you get a video and it's just the bad stuff. And so the best dealers are actually putting together videos and just consistently sending them every time and showing progression. So even though things might be all green today, and maybe my car in for its 15,000 mile checkup, everything's still green, the next time things are going to turn into the yellow, and I'm going to see that I might need brakes next visit, I might need tires in 2 visits. And so educating the customer on that progression is important. And then we tie in other things. So we do estimates, so you can accept and decline estimates right on your phone. If you want to pay through your phone, we allow that as well. We offer financing through Sunbit, so that you can actually get financed on whatever the estimate is. So we do a lot of that kind of thing that the customer is going to experience. And it's all done asynchronously, such that you can get to it in a minute or you can get to it in 2 minutes, and it's not a phone call where you're on hold or you're waiting to find an advisor. So even though we're TruVideo, there's a lot of what we do that's embedded in the whole communication chain.
Well, let's shift gears for a moment. Can you tell me a little bit about yourself and the career path that brought you to where you are today with TruVideo?
Sure. So I've always really been enamored with technology. And I think a lot of that stems from programming classes I took in high school, as well as studying computer science in college. I have found that the one thing that I think I'm really good at and that I like to do is actually in the product side of things, and basically taking either a business need or a customer requirement and translating that into a solution that's based on technology. And a lot of what that's looked like since the 90s has been the internet and the web, and then more recently into mobile, right? And so I understand technology pretty well, and I can take whatever that need is and translate it into that solution. As far as TruVideo is concerned, I've probably done 15 startups across all different industries, and I've done sales and marketing and product development and operations, and that's really positioned me well to do what I do at TruVideo today. Joe Shaker, who's one of our co-founders, we met, in the 90s, if you will. And he's a basketball nut, I'm a basketball nut. And we actually played pickup basketball together in Metro West Boston for a bunch of years. And one day he came to me and he said, "Hey, got this idea, thinking about doing a software company in the automotive space. Not sure what you're doing, but would you be interested?" And I said, "Yeah, I think so." And 30 days later, TruVideo was created.
Wow.
Now his origin story was that he one day decided he would interview some of his customers to find out a couple of questions. And so he just grabbed a bunch of ROs off the desk and he started making phone calls. And he would call a customer and say, "Hey, you're one of my best customers. You've bought several cars from me. You service all your vehicles in my service shop. You actually know the advisors by name. You're a great customer. But you just spent $1,000 on a repair order last week. And I want to know, do you ever have any doubts, right? Do you doubt that we recommended the right stuff for your car?" And he said, to a person, they all said, "Of course you're going to have doubts." And that was the impetus for him to go, I don't ever want to have that with my customer base. I want to have something that's transparent so that I can show them, they can understand what it is, and they don't just have to blindly trust my dealerships. And that was what was the impetus for creating TruVideo.
Let's stick with TruVideo for a moment. I know you guys sell direct to dealers. You also work with a lot of partners too, right? Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so we started, we're a 9-year-old company right now. We have thousands of customers. We started in a direct model, and we would sell through 20 groups. We have a sales force. But we realized that we had the best technology in the industry. And we also realized that other software companies had tried and failed to build a video platform. It sounds easy on the surface, and you can build prototypes and sort of make it work, but the devil's in the details. And after a few years of other companies trying to do it on their own, they finally decided that they wanted to find somebody to help them. And so 2 of the largest companies, software companies in automotive, CDK and Reynolds, both came to us and said, "Boy, you guys are the best. can we incorporate your technology into our product suite? And so I think for maybe 3 years now, we've been working with CDK, and it's been a great partnership. They put our tools under a brand called ServiceView, and they're actually adding their artificial intelligence suite to all of their customers as well. So that partnership has been great, and every day that goes by, we're getting closer and closer to integrating our software into their dashboard, so you don't even have to leave CDK to do all of the management, the texting, the communication. So really great partnership, but they've been able to leverage their sales force and their existing thousands of customers to start to implement some of our technology. And then Reynolds said, hey, we have an app, but it's not working the way we want it to. Could you build us a mobile app? And we built what they refer to as Service Snap 2.0. And then they rolled that out to all their advanced service customers. So we've been able to leverage our technology, and we really focus on making it better and better and better, whereas other companies that maybe have other priorities and a large software base have been able to implement us in a very short time frame.
Interesting. Well, I'd also like to ask you about your book. I know you just wrote a book. What inspired you to write that book?
So I've got the book here. It's 120 pages worth of solid gold information. I've been giving webinars as sort of an outreach. Part of it is marketing to introduce TruVideo to other companies and other partners. And part of it is just to provide some level of training and education to our existing customer base. Mm-hmm. I've been giving these webinars monthly for about 3 years now. And I say I'll keep giving them until people stop showing up. So I'm still doing it, and we still have people showing up. The basis for those webinars is what went into my NADA presentations. So for the last 2 years, I've been lucky enough to get a spot as a workshop presenter at NADA in Dallas 2 years ago, and then this year in Las Vegas. The first one was all about video utilization, and then this past year was about video quality. So I took a lot of all that webinar stuff and that workshop stuff and I actually put it into a book. Mm-hmm. And there's something about picking up a book and being able to flip through the pages, and everything's professionally illustrated. So there's some eye candy in every page, and there's a little bit in here for everybody. Mm-hmm. And if you're having a tough time implementing, or if you're wondering about video and implementing it into your dealership, it's a great place to start. Everything's all indexed and keyworded, so you can kind of jump around if you want to. We talk about objections and how to roll it out to your technicians and your advisors and how to get buy-in and so forth. So it just embodies a lot of the presentation, the education seminars that I've been doing. Oh, and it's $14.99, and you can buy it at Amazon. It's called The Ultimate Guide to Inspection Videos.
Oh. Well, Warner, is there anything else you'd like to share with our audience today?
You know, we're sort of diverging a little bit as a software company, and we just really focus on our technology. What we're working on now is sort of a next step, and it's adjacent to video and texting, but it's more in the artificial intelligence realm. So we've developed a virtual assistant, and we're actually rolling it out with CDK as our partner, and they'll be the first ones to sell it and promote it. And we're right in the middle of that rollout. We've got a number of pilot stores using it. And so when you look at our expertise in using artificial intelligence as we apply to video and to texting, now we're applying it to voice. And so the idea is if a customer calls a dealership and they press 1 to schedule an appointment, the AVA, which stands for Artificial Intelligence Virtual Assistant, that's the CDK's name for the virtual assistant, AVA will actually answer the phone and guide the user through scheduling an appointment. And it's all natural language based. It's not, press 1 for this and 2 for that. It can handle 52 different languages. You can cancel appointments and reschedule. It remembers who you are. It recognizes your phone number and says which car you're calling about. So very flexible. The idea is now a customer can get to somebody. They're not on hold or waiting for an advisor to free up. They can call at any time of the day. So if I want to schedule an appointment, I can call at 10 o'clock at night and get my appointment scheduled. And it frees up resources in the dealership so that they can focus on more important things like a customer standing in front of them. Yeah. Or the BDC can work on recall campaigns and outbound calls. And so it's an efficiency play for the dealership. It's a customer experience improvement for the customer.
Wait, thank you for coming today, Warner.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you for taking the time to join us for this Auto Success Executive Spotlight. I'm your host, Brian Ankney. Today, my guest has been Warner Jones from TruVideo. We hope to see you again on a future episode. This one's Over the Curb and Burning Gas.